Last week we talked about, as we are going to talk today, we talked about business. And I said that business is spiritual. Bishop Shujo, I greet you in the name of Jesus. That is not I got my bishops. So I said business, the way I understand it, is spiritual. You know, people can say this person is very clever, but it's because they were blessed by their parents. In 1992, I got this revelation, and I made an appointment with Baba Kuti, and I said, "Can I see you in Waterfalls?" He said, "What is it?" I said, "I've got a revelation. Akuna munhu anobudirira kana asina kuita honor their parents. There is no person like that." Baba Kuti said, "It doesn't just apply to Christians. It applies to everyone. Whether they pray to God or they don't pray to God, it applies to everyone. Nobody will be successful without honoring their father and mother." That's what Baba Kuti said. And then we also talked last week about tithe. One day my business was not doing very well, that time, and I then phoned Baba and I said, "Baba, please grace my office, grace our factory in Norton." And then he passed through my office with his driver, and he came through my office and he prayed. He prayed for about a minute or so. Immediately after praying, he said, "Your tithe is behind. That is your problem. Sort out your tithe. Let it be up to date. Your business will be okay." And that was it. When I sorted that out, the business then was flourishing. But he just picked it up in that prayer. You know how Baba used to pray? Just a little prayer, and he said, "Your tithe is behind. That is your problem." So that is about tithe. Then we talked last week about vibes. That people know you. People know people. As you meet a stranger, people know you. Many people say, "How does somebody get that kind of a business? How does somebody do it?" It's actually because they can feel the vibes. They feel the aura. They feel the energy in a person. So whatever one has done, it is picked up by a stranger. It's picked up by society. People know this one I must be careful. This one I mustn't do business with this one. You know, so those are the three things that we talked about last week. Today I'm talking about three other things. The first one is passion. When you are going into business, somebody must have a passion. Some people will say, let him quote a scripture. I quote Job 32 verse 8. You know, it says, "For there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of God gives him understanding." So somebody must have a burning desire for that kind of business. Somebody must, when you have got a burning desire, somebody can have, for an example, a burning desire to sell manure. Anotonakirwa nukunungwa kurukuita manure acho. That is your passion. It means that thing has been put by God in your heart. Somehow your spirit knows that this is your business. So somebody can be selling manure, you can laugh at him, but he loves the smell. He loves selling the manure, you know. Because when you like that business, if you have got a burning desire for that business, it means that is your business. So somebody trying to start a business today, must always feel, what do you like most? What is it that you enjoy? What is it that when you do it, it's like a hobby? You must feel that thing is like a hobby. You don't get tired. You have got reason to wake up at 4 a.m. to go and do that business. People say he's a hard-working person, but because you are called to do that and it resonates with your spirit. You know, people like, when you think about people like Warren Buffett, for an example, he's not doing that, whatever he's doing. He lives in the same 3-bedroom, the house that he bought when he was, perhaps when he was 25. He lives in the same house. He hasn't improved it. He's not doing it to make money to be rich. He's doing it because he enjoys investing in shares. He enjoys that. When you look at a person like Donald Trump, he likes golf courses. So he enjoys the golf courses. When you look at people like Bill Gates, the money that they are making is to give to the charity. They don't want any more money, but they are doing it because they've got a passion for what it is that they are doing. Then finally, we can talk about People like Steve Jobs, when he did the iPhone and everything, he was enjoying that. So I'm saying to somebody today, to make the business easy, so that people don't say, Ana Kumuka, why don't you wake up early? Look, you have woken up at 10 a.m. Do something that is like a hobby, something that you like, something that you enjoy. Then the second item that I'm preaching about today, this is a big one. It's about hard work. You know, Papa said to me, when you want God to perform a miracle, try to work to 100% of your capability, of your ability. Work 100%. When you work 100%, that's when God performs a miracle. When you work to the maximum. He said to me, if you are working at 40% and then you pray to God, be there at my factory. Can you please go to my factory today? I'm still sleeping here. He says it won't happen. But when you work to 100% of your capacity, 100%, you stretch yourself to the limit of your elasticity. That is when God performs a miracle within your maximum effort. So when we look at a person like Baba, for an example, that is the great example. That is the businessman, Baba. When you look at how he used to work, when he used to, you know, I remember when he went to New Zealand, he went to a town called Palmerston. Do you know what he did at Palmerston? I'm talking here about hard work, that Christians are supposed to be working hard. Even Jesus, at a certain time, he couldn't eat what he was brought by the disciples when he was preaching to the woman at the well. Then he didn't want to eat anymore. He said, my job is to do the will of him that sent me. So Baba that is the model of hard work. Look at Baba. In 2010, Baba said at the National Sports Stadium, he said, Zayoja is not big like this through blessings of God. He said that to all of us. He said, Zayoja is not big like that because of blessings from God. He says, Zayoja is big like that because of hard work. Can you imagine? That's what Baba said. In front of us all in 2010 at the National Sports Stadium, Zayoja is not big like that because of blessings. He said Zayoja is big like that because of hard work. But talking about New Zealand, I just want to talk a bit about New Zealand. He went to a town called Palmerston, and he was in his 90s. Can you imagine? Still going strong. You know, he went to Palmerston. You know what he was doing? He was running. In the morning, 6 o'clock running. And he was saying to everyone, Mangwanani, Mangwanani. He wanted somebody who will answer Mangwanani. Adaira kuti Mangwanani atoiras. Because he would now take the phone number of that person. Where do you stay? And everything. Then he continues, Mangwanani, himself, Baba himself. He finished the whole town. Tomorrow he's on the street. Mangwanani. Anybody who says Mangwanani as well, atoirasa here. Now that person, that's how he started the church in Palmerston. Then he went to Wellington. Mangwanani, running himself in his 90s. Anybody who answers Mangwanani, bad luck, because that person is now delivered unto the Lord. He would continue the next day, Mangwanani, he was running himself. That is the hard work that we are talking about. Today we are proud to say, you know, Zayoja is very big. It's because of the hard work of a certain man who decided that's what he was going to do. Then he went to Dunedin, Mangwanani, in New Zealand, Mangwanani. Anybody who answered Mangwanani, that's it, you are a Christian. Because he took the phone number of that person and the address. Then he went to Christchurch, Mangwanani. Anybody who answered Mangwanani, that's how he started the church in Christchurch. Then he went to Auckland. The same thing in Auckland. Mangwanani. You know, so I'm saying to somebody, one day, Baba came to Mandara. I was the senior elder at Mandara. And he said, we were opening another assembly at a certain house. Baba comes there. You know, he preached a mystery. He said, many people think God tipped me. God tipped me and said, Ezekiel, I love you so much. So when you start a church called Zayoja, I'll be with you. He says, no. He says, God didn't talk to me. He says, it's me who decided that people must come to the Lord. People must be Christians. He said it was my own decision and the hard work to make sure that people come to the Lord. He said a mystery that day. He said, any one of you, if you have got your vision in business, whatever you intend to do, you can do exactly what I've done, and it will be successful. He says, any one of you, can you imagine? He gave us a key to life. He says, any one of you, if you set out to perform your vision, complete with the hard work, the attendant hard work, you will be able to do what I've done, even more than what I've done. That's what Baba Kuti said. Can you believe this? He said, any one of us today, I'm saying to Borodale today, anyone who works hard will go to the levels that Baba Kuti went in their own vision. We can start a Coca-Cola here and it will affect the whole world. We can start a business, whatever it is, it can affect the whole world by working hard. So what I'm saying to somebody today, you need to work hard. Let's copy from Baba, but I'm talking about in your own business. You've got to work hard. Oh, yeah. In Canada, you know what he did in Canada? One day we were standing in his room on the 6th floor, and his keys could not open. So we were left there. We're just standing at the door waiting for his proper keys to come. And he was telling us how he preached in Toronto. But in Toronto, they were just staying in one room with my good, a very cheap room. And they were found in a certain corner, in a tea room, trying to have some tea. They were found by a certain woman, a Zayaja woman. This woman cried, says, Baba, how do you sit in a place like this? Dirty, a small room, and you are having tea. My good said she used to carry Baba's bags. He says that's why she can't put a handbag here. He says it was damaged by carrying Baba's bags. She said they used to walk the whole Toronto, trying to preach the whole Toronto, going to almost every other house in Toronto. Can you imagine? And in Vancouver, you know what they decided in Vancouver? They decided to use the telephone book. They went through the whole telephone book in Vancouver, seeing whether there is an African name, seeing whether there is something that says Mulambo or Rostole or Gurianga or whatever. And then they would hire a taxi to go to that address, and they would be thrown out. They would be thrown out because some of the people will say, who are you people that are coming to my house? They go to the next house, they look again in the telephone directory. They went through the telephone directory himself. That is how he started church in Quebec, in Vancouver, in Toronto. Himself, that is Baba for you. Today, Zayoja has preached into different countries. Now we know there is can you imagine? Now we know a country called Cayman Island. Can you imagine? I never learned that in geography. We now know that there is a country called Belize. Can you imagine? I didn't know that there is a country. I never learned about Belize in geography. But that was Baba. One day when he was in deeper life, for those people that remember, when the Brazil choir came and they sang, Baba wept. He cried and cried and cried. And people were wondering, why is he crying like that? When he stood up, he said, I'm crying because when I went to preach there in their capital city, he says, I took so many combis to try to get to the center of the town. So many combis. He said, finally, I preached to some people, Portuguese-speaking people. I preached to them in English. They repented in Portuguese, but I was preaching to them in English. He says, to think that this big choir that has come by plane is now big like this now. Brazil is that big now in the Christian fraternity. He said, that's why I was crying. To think, you were there, God. You were there, you are so faithful that today I've got a choir as big as this coming from Brazil. I'm talking today about hard work. We want to talk about hard work. Baba's children will emulate Baba. That was our example in whatever we're doing, whatever we will do. We have to work hard. We have to wake up. We have to plan. We have to strategize. You know how Baba used to teach us? He was saying, if you want to build a supermarket here, when you want to build a supermarket here, let a man stand here or a girl who will write how many people are going this side. How many people are going this side? How many men are going this side wearing overalls? How many people are going there? He says you do your research before. The same thing that was said in Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30, where Jesus said, who amongst you intending to build a tower does not sit down first to count the cost to see whether he has got enough to finish it? Lest people will come and laugh at him and say, this man started building and he was not able to finish. Or what king intending to make war, how he would calculate how with 10,000 he's going to fight the one coming with the 20,000. Lest he will send emissaries to negotiate terms of peace where they are still a distance away. I'm paraphrasing. I'm just saying that we need to calculate. We need to be working hard. There is no other way. Zayoja is not big like this because the blessings of God, Baba said. It is big like this because of hard work, because of planning. So that is about hard work. And we continue. I think I'll borrow my 5 minutes that I left last week. I left 5 or 6 minutes, so I can have that today, you know. Because some of these things, you know, when you leave something, people must remember that, you know, it's in my storeroom, so I want it to my credit. And the praise and worship here took about 1 minute of mine, so I want that one as well. When he got to Norton with me, when we drove in the same car, I was seated. The driver, Pastor Jaricha, was driving us. When we got there, he got to this big factory of ours. And you know what he said? He said, when you start this factory, these new product lines that you are doing, don't do it like the white people do it. He says, don't do it like the white people do it. Do it 10 times better. He says people must come. Just the toilet alone. People must talk to, if a French guy came here, he must tell his wife to say, you know, can you just visit the toilet? Just see. He says it must be a wonder going to the toilet. Just going to the toilet. He says, don't do it like the white people do it. Do it 10 times better. I don't know whether he used it 10 times or he said several times better. I can't remember. It's a long time now. So I don't know whether he said 10 times or do it several times better. Okay? Because I'm drawing the 5 minutes from you. Then today we want to say people must have savings. People must save money. Silly amounts of money. So people must save $2 a week. $2 a week. $10 a week. $50 a week. $20 a week. $90 a week. $5 saved every week is a lot of money. And this money will now go to in what I call the last bag. This money you never use again. You can have problems, manar, wara, you know, and everything else, but you can't use that money. So every Christian business person must actually save money. Silly amounts, don't save too much. If you are earning $400, don't try to save $200. Just save $50, just save $10. But this money that you save, you never use again forever. You know, you put $10 away in a pillow or in a metal bank, whatever. This is serious, what I'm talking about. It's very serious. And this money, you won't use it again. This is it. So it's not money that you can use for fuel. It's not money that you can say, my wife is sick, I'm taking her to the doctor. No. My husband is sick, I'm taking her to the doctor. No. This money that you put away, it's permanent. Fortunately, we use US dollars here. So you put away that money. Try to put a good note as well. Don't put an old coin or old note. Try to put a new money, nice money. But you put that money away forever. Forever. Baba, I'm showing, don't look at me. I'm drawing 5 minutes. So I'm saying everybody must have savings in their pillow. In their pillow, under their bed. Every week or every month. Somebody must just save money, unimpressive money. Don't save too much money. Save $20. If you can, save $50. If you can, save $100. If you can, save $200. But I'm starting with $2. Can you imagine? If you save $10 a week, at the end of the month, it will be $40. But that $40 is sure enrichment. It's sure wealth. Because you will never touch it again. Can you imagine? When it gets to one day, it will get to 4,000. When it gets to 4,000, you start praying more. You pray in more tongues. When you have got a lot of money, you start praying. You start praying. You start fasting. You start fasting. You say, let's continue this week again. We want to go before the Lord again. When somebody has got money, is a dangerous prayer warrior when he has got money. You know, so you continue. But the message today is save money. I'm not talking about that money that you are saving now. I'm talking about a new savings habit of saving $2. Don't be ashamed to save $2. But you know what you do sometimes? When you save $2 or you are saving $5, you know what you do? Get a picture taken. Get a picture taken by your wife or by your husband to say, this is my first one. So that when it gets to 17,000, you will remember. And you say, you know what? It started from saving $5. Because it will get to 17,000 one day. And there is something called the law of momentum. The law of momentum is when you are pushing a bus. 20 people push a bus so that it can start. But when the bus is going, only 4 people can now push it. That is the law of momentum. So when you start saving money, other money will come to you. When you save $20 and you save $20 and you said, you know what is going to happen? Because of the law of momentum which is in the air, one day you will find that can you imagine, this week I saved $100. You don't know how it has happened. Because Baba said money goes to where there is money. You know, whenever you say, Andina kana Maria school fees, I don't have this, money runs away. But you know, and this is the sign. When you are saving money, you know what you do when you are talking to somebody? You scratch your nose like this. This is normally a secret to say, when you are doing this, Pastor, no, I'll come and do that job that you want. But it shows, so I'm saying to somebody, when you save $50 a month, $2 a month, one day that $2 is going to change. One day you will save $20 a week. One day you will save $40 a week. One day you will save $1,000. It will happen. And you know how you save? If you are going to Canada, like the pastor sometimes does, if you are going to Canada, you know, and you book a business class, you book yourself a business class, it is 1,800 to go to Canada. You know, decide when you have saved that money, decide and say, you know what, I'm going to go in economy class because you had saved 1,800. Because you know what I found out? If you go in the economy class or business class, I realized that you get there around the same time. You know? So you endure. So you endure the economy. Now the economy now is $900. You get there, you save the other $900. If you are going to a wedding in Kwekwe and you have saved $200 for the fuel, you know, now the wedding has been cancelled or postponed. Take that $200, put it in the last bag. So always do that. When you use the Kleenex toilet papers are very expensive. You know, and sometimes you change your mind. Kleenex toilet papers perhaps will cost you $150 a month. But if you use the other ordinary toilet papers, they do about the same job. So use the cheap ones. So you save. If you have been buying a lot of Ceres, if you buy a lot of Ceres juice, you are buying a lot of Ceres juice, sometimes decide and say, you know what, this month we're just going to drink Mazoe. You know, it's still a drink. When you say, we want to, my time is up. Now I'm going to my own extra time now. When you now say, we want to, my dear, we want to buy a television. You want to buy a television, 100-inch television. So you save the money, save the money, save the money. Now you have saved 3,000 with your wife to buy that television, 100-inch television or 80-inch television. What you do is you sit down with your wife. At our house, we normally have a family meeting. You sit down with your wife and say, you know, that's save 3,000. Now we want to replace that TV. But when you look at that TV, the same on that one or on the 100-inch. You know, Trump the same. Why don't we cancel that thing? Let's cancel that thing. But now you have got 3,000, put it in the last bag. You have already saved now. When you want to change your stove, because the Africans like to change things unnecessarily. You want to change that stove. Now you have saved money, is 2,800 for the new stove. Sit down with your husband or with your wife and say, you know what, if we just enamel it, paint it again, put a new place, it cooks the same salsa as a new one. So why don't we spend $200, we refurbish it and save 2,600 into the last bag. So you force yourself to save money. I know people are saying, what is going to happen to the money that you are saving every week? People want to know what's going to happen to that. That money will be used eventually to buy a property. It's a bag to buy a permanent property for the family. You know? So, you know, we are a wonder. We are a royal priesthood. The best of the best children of God. Somebody abuda basa today. Ato buda basa nas. But you don't understand such a Christian. Because abuda basa. But he has got $55,000. That's when you hear, Baba Ningi, Bakabuda basa paya Zirkuneta, but Vatenga in Banyuan. And you then say, how did that happen? This guy is out of employment. How did he buy a new house? He bought a stand. He bought this year because that money that we save is only used for a walkover. What do I call it? For a crossover. Thanks, my dear. That's my wife there. I got to be standing. That is used for a crossover. That money is used for a crossover. So today, let's have an agreement today. Everybody is going to save something. Everyone. It doesn't matter. Trust me. Trust me. Just save $1. Save $2 every week. Save $5. Bishop Panduki, save $20 every week. Save $50 every week. You will tell me the money will grow. It will add to itself. It will add to itself. Mukawana my Bishop Panduki bakutanga kufamba vechida iso. Moze oti zvakuita yakwira mari. You know, pastor kana vanhu vane mari yema savings andiri kutaura iyoyo. Munongona vanhu vakazara muno manheru ega ega eMonday neFriday. Vanonga vachitonamata vanhu ane mari vanonamata. Vanhu ane mari vanonamata. Elder Mushawedi is looking at me. Thank you.
We thank God for a power-packed Bible study.